Alright, so this week in Ireland has pretty much just been a normal bog standard week. So first of all I want to say what's the crack, welcome back. But if you're new here, my name is Adam Redmond and this series is called This Week in Ireland. Where basically every Tuesday at 6:45 PM I post a video where we take a look at what's gone on in the week previous to the video. Now before I get started I want to say I haven't tested the lighties in a while, so if we can hit 1,000 likes on this video in the first 24 hours, which I have a strong feeling we won't do, I will post another video on the weekend. Last thing I know, this is the longest intro ever. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, which you see somewhere here, for all the behind the scenes, because I'm very active on Instagram compared to YouTube. RD launched major probe as thugs launched petrol bombs at 3 more houses in Drogheda, County Louth. Here's a picture here of one of the gas that were petrol bombs, which as you can see is absolutely burnt to a crisp. Apparently this is in relation to an ongoing drug field, and I know I don't touch on that stuff and gang stuff usually because I enjoy my own life, but I just wanted to mention it because if these not seeing the prices of petrol these days, how can you afford multiple petrol bombs to throw at a gaff when I can't even afford to fill me fucking car? So as everybody from Ireland and even the UK will know, Storm Hannah kind of struck our little part of the world. So majority of Ireland was on red alert for the whole of the weekend, and let me just show you a little look at some of the damage. So very nice, we have a little shed mangled. Someone's trampoline has gone for a little bounce from the back garden. Let me just read this little tweet out for you. Before we move to the Great Blasket, my wonderful nan gave me this blessed candle with a note that said, light it during a storm if we were scared. It's lighting now, help us see Storm Hannah out. Isn't that just absolutely lovely? Give your head a wobble, it was a little storm, nothing the country hasn't seen before. The whole world wasn't coming to a fucking end. Very sad to see this ancient oak, known locally as the Big Tree, was a victim of Storm Hannah last night. It has stood on a crossroads and become a local landmark for centuries. Sad to see a tree and a bit of local heritage gone. If you see from the picture here, it's not gone anywhere. All it has done is just topple down. That's some victim. You have to find out where Storm Hannah's gaff is and send the guards around immediately.
Wow.
Wow.
Check out the damage done on this massive tree.
Wow.
It's actually heartbreaking.
It's actually heartbreaking. No, it's not heartbreaking. Shut up and give your head a wobble. It's just a tree that was blown over by the wind. It's nature versus nature. Who gives a bollocks? So the notorious ATM robbery gang is back. Remember last week I told you how 2 ATMs were robbed from the same street in Kells and Mead? But anyways, look at this picture. This is what was found in a local forest. As you can see, the truck, the trailers and the 2 ATMs are all burnt out. But obviously the cash was long gone, but this was found by guards, I think a couple of days later or the following day, near the actual scene of the crime. But that wasn't the end of it. They were back just the other day. Police recovered 2 ATMs stolen from Antrim supermarket in early hours as thieves flee empty-handed. The guy that actually caught them for once. Or so you think. So apparently some locals actually rang in that was some suspicious going on at the local Tesco. No, it's not more horse meat and burgers. It's actually the ATM thieves were caught in the act. Anyways, who took the ATMs out of the shop and they were driving them away when the guards actually seen them. Strangely enough, the robbers just abandoned the ATMs, ran off and left everything there for the guards to take away. So the guards seen them, but the people still got away. So I don't know, will they be back? Will they not? We'll see next week. So I remember how a couple of weeks ago I said about how a man missed his flight, burst out onto the runway chasing after the plane trying to wave it down, then assaulted 2 actual workers of the place that were tackling him, trying not to get him knocked down by his own plane. So if you want to hear more about that chap and the whole story, just go back and watch that video when you're finished watching this one. Why am I bringing it up again? Because his court date was the other day, which then got postponed and he's due to be sentenced late in June. Horrified owner of dog found wrapped in ball of duct tape rejects explanation from Dublin Kennel that beloved pet had parvovirus. So I'm going to try and put this story into my own words. So a woman called Kirsten was going on a holiday for 4 days. She brought 2 of her dogs to a kennel in Kimmage. One dog was a husky called Nova, which you can see in the picture up in that corner, and the dog going into the kennel was on steroids for an infection it had in its colon, which can cause dogs to bleed out. Anyways, the dog was actually found dead and bled out in the kennel on one of the mornings. I'm pretty sure it was the last morning just before the dog was due to be picked up. So either 1, the dog didn't actually get its steroids that was due to get from the staff in the kennels, or 2, the steroids just didn't work and the dog was actually fatally ill. Anyways, here's what the problem is. When the woman came back to collect her dog, she was met by this. That big ball of duct tape contains that woman's 25-kilogram dog. Now you might think that's disgusting, and of course as a dog owner that is disgusting to find that your dog is wrapped up in duct tape. So the kennel owner actually done that as a precaution so that the dog wouldn't pass any diseases on to other dogs in the kennels, and then he would lose all the dogs. It seems fair, but the kennel owner said there was only 2 options of either wrapping it up or freezing it, and he doesn't have the facilities to freeze a dog that size. The reason the dog had to be contained or wrapped up was in case it had parvovirus, which can kill all dogs in the kennels in just 24 hours. I don't know why I held 2 fingers up. Anyways, I can see why both parties are obviously annoyed, but to be fair, the dog owner can just open that package and have the dog's remains if they want to bury them out their back garden or whatever they want to do with it. So to be completely honest, I don't blame the kennel owner. Maybe I might blame him a little bit because maybe the dog didn't get the steroids it was supposed to get before it died. So anyway, since all this came out, the kennels in Kimmage has absolutely gone to the dogs. Probably not the best time for a pun. Since all this came out on social media and it's kind of went viral, the owner has been like getting death threats and all disgusting types of things. Let me just read this out for you. He added, "My kids are going to be chopped up and put in bags. My home is going to be burnt down. I've been told I have 72 hours to get out of my home and close my business because what they are gonna do." People giving him death threats and all is a bit uncalled for, and especially bringing his kids into it. Whatever, take his knees if you want. Don't actually, that was a joke. But bringing people's kids into it and families and saying they're gonna burn his gaff down over a mistake that he mightn't have even made. He's just the owner of the place. It might have been the staff that forgot to give the dog the steroids. Not that it's alright to throw death threats around anyways, but just if anyone's watching this and was throwing death threats at the chap, maybe just ease up a little bit because he doesn't deserve that. On the notion of disposing of dead things anyways, dead bodies left lying on trolleys at University Hospital Waterford, leaking bodily fluids onto floor and decomposing in corridors. That's just as disgusting as you're picturing it in your head right now. So the reason behind this is that the morgue in the hospital actually isn't big enough to accommodate for all the bodies. You haven't got enough fridges or freezers. I'm not actually too sure where dead bodies go, but I just know they're not supposed to be left out because of the decomposing process after you die. It is claimed that in some cases closed coffin funerals are made unavoidable for families. Understood a lack of refrigeration facilities and cramped conditions in the hospital has led to the situation. Due to inadequate body storage and refrigeration facilities, most bodies lie on trolleys and corridor, often leaking body fluids onto the floor. Can you imagine being the cleaner of that place? Bodies decompose in the corridors, leading to a closed coffin funerals with relatives unable to view the remains as a result of gaseous decomposition. Can you imagine the dirt of that place and the smell of it? But anyways, if you're watching this and you're from Waterford or in around that area and you're about to die, maybe just commute just a little bit further away so that there's actually space in another morgue for your body. Furious 4 Dublin firefighters face disciplinary action for refusing to use dodgy fire truck with dozen faults. Now this story is just an absolute joke. On February 27, 2 firefighters refused to drive the 20-year-old truck out of the Dublin Fire Brigade garage in Stanley Street. The 2 staff members refused to drive out of Donnybrook Fire Station later that day. As a result, all 4 staff were disciplined under Fire Brigade disciplinary code. That's an absolute joke. They're already putting themselves at risk with the job that they're doing, and you expect them to get into a truck that they deem as unroadworthy. So on top of being 20 years old, the truck actually had 12 separate faults on it. Something I can't understand is why are guards driving around in 191 luxury cars and luxury vehicles when the Dublin Fire Brigade are forced to drive absolute scrap. Like all the trucks are old. I don't think I've seen a truck newer than maybe 2005 or something, and all the guarded cars are no older than 4 or 5 years old. Now I understand if something's not broke, don't fix it, but in this case the truck actually is broke, so maybe a little bit of a balance between the Garda funding and the Fire Brigade funding. Poor pay man with brain tumour and limp, 3,500 for thinking he was drunk. Now I know I shouldn't be laughing, and I understand again there's 2 sides to every story, but if you see someone come into a pub and they show signs that the bar staff team is drunk, maybe walking like this with a limp, when the man was refused to drink and asked to leave the bar, he actually explained to them why he had a limp and that he was only after finishing rehab and he wanted a celebratory drink that he'd got over his brain tumour or something like that. His condition causes a limp, and this was interpreted by staff as signs of being drunk, which like obviously like you can't blame the staff for refusing him if they thought he was drunk. But in saying that, the man did explain why he had a limp and that he wasn't drunk and that he'd actually got a brain tumour. I'm not saying they've heard that over and over, but I can imagine the bar staff have heard every excuse in the book. So anyways, the man went to put in a claim saying he was distraught and embarrassed, and it was just a horrible situation for him. For me, it seems like he has a lot more stuff to worry about than actually just being embarrassed. But anyways, the pub as an apology settled it outside the court and gave him 3.5 grand. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the video of a taxi man in Dublin being racially abused and actually assaulted coming up the Malahide Road on the north side of Dublin. There's a screenshot of it for anyone that doesn't maybe understand what I'm talking about. For several reasons I'm not going to show the video, but a quick little Google search and you will find it. So anyways, this happened on Easter Sunday, and the little cunt in the video handed himself into guards after the video went viral on social media. Something for you to think about. Taxis is the only form of public transport where you can sit on the actual driver's lap if you chose to. Think of this, like train drivers. Has anyone ever seen a train driver? Lewis drivers wouldn't even know if they were on the Lewis switch at the same time or not. Then obviously Dublin bus drivers, they have that little box and that little window to protect them from everyone else. For me, the only way going forward, it should be compulsory for taxis to have CCTV both inside and outside the vehicle. Also, when you look at taxis in New York and London, Irish taxis should take a leaf out of their book. For me, it should be no more front seat passengers. There should be a cage or a screen in between the back seat and the front seat. People should be forced to sit in the back seat, the door should be locked, and they cannot leave the taxi until it is paid. But I also know there's bad taxi drivers out there as well, so each taxi should be fitted with a GPS tracking device. There's some sort of GPS tracking device that anyone can find it at any time they want. So that's my little 2 cents on how to prevent taxi drivers from being robbed and assaulted so fucking often. So that's gonna be it from today. If you're still watching to this point, thanks so much, I fucking love you. Feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm more than happy to have a conversation with anyone that wants one. If you're in a bad mood, leave a comment down below. I'm more than happy to have an argument with anyone that wants one. Also, if you think anything I said in this was wrong or bullshit, feel free to leave a comment and I'm more than happy to have a little debate with you. Watch and make sure you subscribe because it helps me out a lot and puts a smile on my face. Do me a favour and hit the like button. As I said, 1,000 likes and I'll drop a new video on the weekend. weekend just as a little bonus. Should follow me on Instagram if you want to contact me. Do that through Twitter. That's gonna be it from today. Thanks for watching. See you later. Goodbye.